Guys, I'm in a bikini in my bathtub, so that literally can only mean one thing. Hey groovy girls, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Tub Talks. If you have been here for a long time, then you will remember Tub Talks. I haven't done this in about a year and a half. There was only like 5 episodes in the series, but basically for those of you that don't know what Tub Talks is, you confess your dilemmas to me and I will basically be like your big sister and give you advice along the way. I actually need some help because I am in a new tub. I've never filmed in this tub before, and let me just move this tray along so that you can see what I'm working with. Before I got started, I got in the bath. I haven't filled it up very high because I am actually filming multiple of these today and I don't want to waste the water. I thought, my god, it's really cold in here. Let me just turn the tap on. Am I fucking stupid? I turned the tap on my laptop and I had it running for at least 30 seconds. I don't know where my brain goes sometimes, but that is probably the most stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. Luckily, it's fine right now. It's working okay, I think. If you know anything that I can do just to prevent this from happening again, then definitely let me know. Maybe just comment saying stop being a stupid bitch, because that would probably help me a lot more.
You see that? That's a stupid bitch.
For those of you that are new, welcome to the Tub Talks, and for those of you that are returning, thank you so much for sticking with me. I've been waiting so long to do this again. Just before I do get into today's video, obviously we are going to be touching topics that can be quite sensitive for people. I will leave a trigger warning on the screen for the topics that we are going to talk about in today's video. If you don't feel like you can sit through this, absolutely no worries. I have plenty of other videos for you to watch. Maybe just give this one a miss and I will see you in the next video, group girl. I will also leave any helpful links that I can in the description, because sometimes, guys, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a professional, I'm literally just a girl who might talk about similar experiences or just give you an outsider's perspective. So don't hate me, please. I feel like I'm never going to be loved like that. I've gone 21 years of my life being treated like shit. Cheated on, abused, and always made to feel like the bad guy. I can't ever imagine being truly loved, and if I'm too damaged to receive true love. I chose this one to go first because I feel like it's something that I need to tell myself as well. I have really not had the best of a bad bunch. However, if my past relationships have taught me anything, it's a lot of lessons and a lot of things to look out for, maybe in early stages. For example, there was a lot of red flags that I chose to ignore because I thought that they'd change or maybe they weren't so bad, but in retrospect, oh my god, like I should have ran for the hills in the first month, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's always signs, and this is not me blaming you, this is not me blaming myself, this is not a victim blame. This is just how you can assess what happened to you in the past, move forward with it, and just kind of not see it as a blessing, but just see it as a lesson, and to ensure that you will never ever go through that again. I'm really trying to do that. Like whenever I speak to somebody now and they show me a red flag, I was speaking to a guy recently and he showed me a bit of a red flag and I instantly just cut it off, because I just thought I can't be ignoring these and I can't be doing that whole relationship again. It was just the worst thing that could ever possibly happen. I don't want to redo that in my life. My life is so precious, my time is precious, and so is yours. And I mean, if anything, just try and see it as a positive. Not that it is a positive, but try and see the positives from it. Just because somebody treated you like that does not mean you deserve it, and of course you are fully deserving of the purest and truest of love. If anything, you deserve it more, do you know what I mean? Because you deserve to be shown how real love is, and I know we will find that one day. I'm sorry for like categorizing myself in this question, but I feel like don't let it taint your love life. Just let it be a lesson. Hopefully one day you will find the love of your life, but I also am a firm believer that soulmates don't really exist. I feel like you have soulmates within friends, not necessarily with like love soulmates. Let's say I never did actually get with anybody. Let's say I just keep having flings with people and I want to be single for the rest of my life. It isn't a shameful thing to do that, and I feel like it's a lot of societal pressure to get married, have kids, get into a relationship, be together forever. Like it shouldn't be like that. If you don't want that, or maybe if you're even just too scared to have that again from past trauma, it's not a bad thing. You don't have to get into relationships and you don't have to get married and have kids. Just try and ignore the societal pressures as well. Take it every single day as it comes. If you naturally meet someone, you naturally meet someone. And if you do want to go on the complete flip and you want to be a serial dater and you want to go on loads of dates with people and just hook up with people, maybe you do that too if you feel brave enough, if you feel like you can. Maybe just trial and error it. Who knows, you might have some really good sex with some really good people. If anybody else has anything else to add to that, obviously I'm not professional as I said, then definitely leave it down below. I will also leave some links that I found helpful in the past down below because, girl, we've been through it. This is a bit of a long one. I have a best friend who I've been friends with since year 7. We are now in year 10. I recently got broken up with over text from a boy that I've liked for over a year. We were only together for a month and we are only 14. Oh my god. But I genuinely had feelings for him. Do not doubt that for a second. My best friend has been weird with me ever since I started dating the boy. At first I thought nothing of it, but now I'm thinking that she's actually jealous. When me and the boy were together, she would not stop complaining about how much I talk about him, but then if I didn't tell her something, she would get mad at me. Now that I'm not with him anymore, she keeps going on about how he's such a great guy and how he deserves so much better than me. What kind of friend does that? She purposely talks really bad about me so that I can hear, and when I look at her, she just laughs in my face. She's degrading me in front of all of our friends and making me feel so stupid. I was really in love with the boy and he broke my heart, and she seems to think that I was the one in the wrong, even though I put my heart and soul into the relationship and I got nothing in return. She's always defending him even though they are not friends and barely ever speak to each other. She's trying to force a friendship with him and his friends even though I'm still friends with his friends. When I confronted her about liking my ex, she told me that I was stupid and overreacting and that I'm making a situation out of nothing and trying to split up the friendship group. Oh my god, this aggravates me. Am I in the wrong for wanting my best friend to stop defending my ex even after he broke my heart, or am I doing the right thing? I've tried to be the bigger person by confronting her about it, but it just keeps getting harder and harder. This sounds like she likes your ex, like so clearly, and the fact that she's trying to like degrade you and make you feel smaller than her, it's just a way of her trying to make herself feel better. You had him, you know, you kind of had one up on her at some point. So all she's trying to do now is she's thriving off the fact that you are upset, and that is not what a best friend should do. I completely agree with you that you are doing the right thing. Like, you should definitely distance yourself from this person. Coming from somebody who has been through the whole of high school, and I know how much a high school crush or a high school love can hurt, like it really can hurt. Do you know what? I'll be honest, I'm not actually friends with a lot of the people that I was with in high school anymore. I mean, I barely even speak to the girls that I was best friends with, and that's just because we've grown apart. So don't feel like it's the end of the world because you've lost your best friend, because it really doesn't sound like you've lost much, I'll be honest. In regards to him, I mean, there is going to be plenty more boys. You are definitely going to find somebody else in the future who doesn't break your heart. So I think distance yourself from both these people. I know your friends are still his friends and vice versa. However, that's also not necessarily a bad thing if you can remain civil and just try and shut the situation out and just have fun with your friends. Honestly, focus on your friends. Like, that will really help you through it. And also, I say this to anyone trying to get over like a breakup or whatever, but try and pick up a hobby or like pick up reading. I said this so much in the last Tub Talks. It was like my answer to every single question. But reading really does help because it's escapism and it helps you break out of really bad habits of thinking about them too much. And also, I have a book which was really helpful. I will leave it in the description, and it's basically about like, the anatomy of your own mind. How would you feel if your boyfriend still follows someone on Instagram that he slept with? Not necessarily an ex, as I understand some exes can stay friends, but perhaps a one-night stand or a past friends of benefit. And how do you approach bringing it up that it still hurts a bit, especially because you don't follow any past flings yourself? So I have to think about this from your perspective and his perspective. For me, I've never usually had an issue with it because I don't normally ask. I don't usually like to know about stuff like that, but then like if somebody opens up to me about it, of course I will listen with open ears. I have no problem with that. I mean, if it didn't end horribly, I don't see why it would need to have the unfollowing situation. However, I guess it just depends what happened. I mean, if he says that he was like absolutely in love with her, then I think that's kind of a need to unfollow. I think if you're in a relationship and your partner comes to you and says that something makes you feel uncomfortable within reason, because I know that some people can be quite controlling and that is not a good trait to have. If my partner came to me and was like, look, I've seen that you follow this person, from what you've told me it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable, I would instantly unfollow. I would have no issue with that because I shouldn't still have a connection with that person and I shouldn't have a problem with unfollowing them. However, if there has never been a cause for concern and like they're digging for stuff, overanalyzing a lot of situations and stuff, I mean, I feel like it needs to be a conversation. Like if you're snooping for it, I don't really think they should just go and unfollow everyone, because you never know, they could still have a really good friendship and not have feelings for each other. I have that with a few people that I've slept with in the past. Like I'm still friends with them, but nothing would ever happen again. Like we're different people, we're not really attracted to one another anymore. So it really depends on the situation. However, I would recommend you having a sit down convo with him and just say how it makes you feel. Get him to explain the situation again maybe, and who knows, you might even just unfollow them straight off the bat, like because you haven't actually had a conversation to say that you feel uncomfortable about it. So Just see. I've officially been with my boyfriend for 4 months, but we've been together for the past 6 months. There's certain sexual acts that I struggle to perform due to past trauma, but I can't tell him that. Instead, I just refuse to do it. It's left me feeling guilty for 1, not being honest with him, and 2, not being able to do things for him like that. Realistically, I won't ever be able to do them. I trust him with my whole heart, but part of me can't help but feel shame and embarrassment, which makes me feel worried that he would look at me differently, or that it would be too much for him to handle, which I also know is ridiculous. But now it's getting to the point of me being visibly upset if he mentions it, because to him, my main reason is that I don't like it. This is obviously like a very sensitive topic. Personally, I know it will literally seem like the hardest thing in the world, but it will feel like such a weight off your shoulders. If you feel as though you can trust him enough, I would have that conversation with him, because obviously I completely understand the feeling of not wanting to make him feel shit, and that is so sweet of you to, even through your own trauma and your own upset, still be thinking of your partner. You clearly do really like the guy, you clearly are in love with him. I would just honestly sit down, as hard as it will be, they should be there for you, and if they're not, end that relationship. If somebody isn't going to be there for you through your worst and darkest times, then they don't deserve to be with you, and they shouldn't be with you. You deserve someone so much better than that, who is going to care for you and worry about you through the littlest of things. Also, linking back to what I said earlier, I would possibly see a therapist, because with PTSD, there is ways to overcome it, and there is ways to maybe possibly find that connection again with your partner. I absolutely would never blame you, and neither should anybody else, if you never was able to do anything like what happened again, because you shouldn't be expected to. That is what trauma is. It really damages the mind, and it stops us from doing a lot of things, sadly. I would try your absolute utmost to not let it ruin such a good situation, and the worst that is going to happen from the conversation is he isn't supportive, which absolutely breaks my heart. You know that he was never the right one for you, and you can kind of like nip it in the bud while it's just 6 months. I know I'm saying just 6 months because it's still a super long time to some people. However, would you rather find out now in the 6 months that he isn't the one for you, or would you rather have that conversation 20 years down the line when you feel more comfortable? Then you have to let it all go, because they're clearly not the one for you. They're not supportive. My boyfriend and I are so different that it affects our approaches to situations and issues that we face. For example, sexism and racism. I'm brown, he's white, I'm female, he's male. I don't expect him to understand, and he always says he supports me, but he's so non-confrontational. So if ever there's an issue and someone has done something to me/us, he always wants to just leave it and be the bigger person. But it's just not effective in dealing with problems, in my opinion. Do you think people have to be similar to stay together? Because it's not even something small. They're big issues such as sexism and racism. I don't want to lose him, but part of me is questioning whether it's a good relationship quite often. Regardless of everything you have just said, I'm just going to focus on the last line where you said part of me questions whether it's a good relationship or not. I feel like if you're ever having self-doubt in a relationship, I mean, I feel like you kind of just said it yourself. Personally, for me, I've ended relationships before if the person has shown signs of being racist or sexist. Luckily, I've never had to deal with the sexism side of it. I'm normally on a good level playing field with that. However, if somebody did show me sexist mannerisms, or like just was started being sexist, I would definitely run for the hill. These are really serious things. I mean, sexism, racism, transphobia, just anything within that realm. It's so scary, especially if you are one of the people that are majorly affected by it. I mean, you are the epitome of who he is not supporting. Personally, for me, I think that is a massive factor. I always look for my partner to be not necessarily the most politically correct ever, but I would like that. Do you know what I mean? As soon as they step out of line and say something that's a bit, I just get rid of them, because I just get scared that that could manifest into something more. I think there's no excuse to not be politically correct nowadays. I understand if you haven't had the education for it, but like if I've had a conversation with you and I've educated you on that topic and you're still acting homophobic, sexist, racist, transphobic, I mean, even after the first conversation of you saying it, it should have been a no-go. It should have been an absolutely leave that there. However, with me, sometimes I do feel, right, maybe you haven't had this conversation with anyone, maybe no one's ever told you it's wrong, you grew up in an environment where that was deemed acceptable. So as long as I can have a conversation with somebody and explain to them how it is wrong, if they then continue to show those mannerisms and behaviours, absolutely not. I would get out of that relationship. And I feel like you know you should get out of that relationship, because you're literally saying, I'm questioning whether it's a good relationship. I feel like you know what you need to do. God forbid you were ever in a life-threatening situation to do with these topics. I just don't think he'd be there for you, and you don't want that from your partner. So I have a boy who really, really likes me, as in love with me, and I've tried to like him, but I just can't find the relationship spark. He's also the nicest person in the world, and I wouldn't change anything about him. He's helped me so much, but I just don't see him like that. I've told him all along how I felt, but it's only recently gone in, and he's very upset, and I feel awful. However, there is another guy who isn't amazing, but I get butterflies with him when I text him and see him. Should I feel bad or not? I don't think you should feel bad as a sense, because nobody can help who they fall in love with, nobody can help who they like, and that goes for both of you. You shouldn't feel bad for him liking you, and you shouldn't feel bad for liking this other guy either. However, there's got to be some form of complex as to why we do this, because I have known such lovely guys in my life who have liked me and who have absolutely shown me the most incredible qualities about themselves, but I'm not attracted to them physically, and that is a massive thing. You can't deny that. You can't deny that being attracted to someone physically and sexually is a big thing. But I wish that we could accept that love, and that we did just like fall in love with them from their personality, because oh my god, everything would be so much easier, wouldn't it? A lot of the times we do get blinded by somebody's appearance, which is absolutely awful, because as we were just discussing in the previous one, you can get so blinded and like let things go that they do from their personality that are like really wrong, and it's because you don't want to lose them, one, because you're in love with them, but also because they're so attractive. Like, it's just so stupid. I have absolutely let things slide with a partner. Maybe they'll say something to me that I didn't like, or like they raise their voice at me or anything like that, and I definitely let a lot slide, because I just thought that I would never get better than them, and I was so in love with them. Do you know what I mean? We've all been there. And you really can't force yourself to like someone. I would love to sit here and be like, girl, go for the other guy, like you might fall in love with him, but it sounds like you've been trying to for a really long time, and if it's not working, it's not working. I mean, he's just a really good friend that is gonna have to care for you from a distance by the sounds of it. I mean, I also don't think you should go with this other guy. You're saying he isn't amazing, which makes me a little bit scared that something has happened that makes me feel like he's a really horrible person, and I feel like you know within yourself that you probably shouldn't like this guy. Same thing we were talking about earlier. We need to learn to leave that relationship or leave the situationship, friends and benefits, anything, when we see red flags, and we can do the same with our friendships as well. If you are starting to see red flags from people, just cut them off. Our time is so precious. We do not have time in our life to waste on people who are just bad for us, and especially who we know are bad for us. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, believe me. However, from now on, I don't think I've ever kept someone in my life that is a red flag, because my life and my time is worth more than that. So hopefully you can apply that to yourself, but please keep this guy in your life. I know you feel absolutely awful about not feeling the same way. However, he seems like such a sweetheart, and it would hurt him so much more not having you in his life at all. So I think just keep him as a friend and have that conversation again, and just be like, I don't want to lose you, but I don't think it will ever turn into a relationship. Who knows? In 20 years time, he could grow up and look phenomenal, and you could be like, oh my god, what did I do? I let you go. How? Like, yeah, I mean, that has happened to a lot of people before, especially when they're younger and somebody likes them. So my partner who works from home has built up a good friendship with another girl. My toxic ass. He's always messaging her and telling her how amazing she is, and he is shopping for an expensive perfume for her for Christmas. It's not a trust issue as such, but more jealousy. It would be a trust issue for me. I have spoken to him, and he said that he will make more effort for me and make me feel like the most important girl in his life, but how can I stop myself from being so jealous? It's not healthy for me, but I can't shift it. I'm sorry, you should always feel like the most important girl in the world to him, and the same goes vice versa. He should always feel like the most important guy in your life. Why is he making this girl feel so special? That's what I want to know. I mean, I can't ever say that I've been in a relationship and then shown somebody else more attention than my partner. Usually that means that you're like starting to get feelings, you know? But especially if they've just formed this friendship working from home. What? No, this is sus to me. I understand what you're saying, like you don't want to see him, in quotation marks, psycho, because that is... No, you're not though. You're literally not though. I would feel the exact same, and I think anybody would. And I think anyone that doesn't is in denial about the fact that their partner could possibly be cheating on them. It isn't healthy, but I don't think it's unhealthy on your end. I think your feelings are completely valid. Expensive perfume for Christmas? Telling her how amazing she is? Like, no, absolutely not. I would not stand for that, and I would have a conversation and be like, this makes me very uncomfortable. I'd understand it if they had been friends, like family friends since birth, and they've always been this way, and it would be like a brother-sister kind of thing. But a girl does not just waltz into your partner's life and become so special. No. I think you need to have a conversation, and I'm sorry about the tough love here, but you really need to sit him down and be like, it's not okay. I'd love to say that you're overreacting, babe, but you're really not. That would wind me up too. That would really wind me up. I'm 21, and the guy that I'm seeing has recently just turned 30. The age thing doesn't bother me. Well, it doesn't bother bother either of us. However, he's so immature that I can't help but get wound up by him. For example, if I put a picture of my friends on my story, he will always message me saying that they look hot, and I know he does this to get a reaction out of me. It's gaslighting. Sometimes I feel like he's doing it so that he can call me crazy, and I just don't know what to do. Manipulation. This is textbook, this. Because when we're together and it's just us, it's perfect. God. But the second someone else is around or it's over socials, he just becomes someone different, and it's really starting to get me down. Please help me, Haz. This is textbook. Oh my God. He sounds like the worst guy in the world. He is showing off in front of your mates. He's trying to get a reaction out of you. He's just the worst guy, and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. I'm really sorry to tell you that. I personally think, again, bin it off. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, but I don't think a lot of these dilemmas ever end up in a good way. You wouldn't be coming to me for advice if you knew there wasn't something wrong. No offense to any guys watching, but they usually say that mentally a guy is 3 years behind maturity wise. So if he's 30, he's supposedly 27 mentally. Why is he acting up like this? Why is he acting like a 16-year-old boy? No, I'm not here for it. I assume we've already had the conversation, but the quote within itself, when we're together and it's just us, it's perfect. No, this relationship should be perfect all round, not this. And I've been in the situation where my partner has made me feel so small in comparison. It's diminishing. It is. I wouldn't stand for it. I'd have a conversation. Oh, bless you, but please help me, Haz, at the end of it. I mean, I don't really know what else I can say apart from have a conversation, and if it carries on, you know what you need to do. We stand for a lot of shit in relationship, guys. We really do, and I don't know why, because as I said, if you see a red flag, we shouldn't be tolerating it. We don't deserve this. We deserve so much better. I would definitely not stand for somebody calling my friends hot. Definitely not. Fair enough, mutual appreciation. I can call my friends hot. We can appreciate that somebody else is attractive, that is not toxic, and that is not immature, but messaging me saying, oh my God, your friend looks so fit here. What's the word? Fit, right? Let's just add that to the equation. I did actually change it. You said that he tells you that they look fit. I changed it to hot. It's just a bit of immaturity within itself, isn't it? Really fit. Oh my God, that makes me feel sick. So in conclusion for today's video, everybody should break up with their partners. No, really joking. But it does sound like a lot of you need to bin them off, especially Miss Thing about sexism and racism. I can't believe that. I have a lot more to answer, but I am going to do that in the next Tub Talks, and I'll be going to Australia next week. That's really weird. That's really, really weird. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you do have any dilemmas that you want me to be your agony aunt for, your big sister, then definitely leave them down below. Give it as much context as possible, because then I can help you out as much as possible. Please remember, as I said, I am not a professional, and I've never claimed to be perfect or give the best advice ever. You can also confess your sins down below if it's not advice that you're looking for. You just literally want to get something off your chest and tell me something juicy. I really love hearing your guys' confessions, because it makes me realise that my life isn't so shit. Whereas agony aunts make me realise that my life is quite shit, because I relate to you all so much. It's so weird. Well, I love you all so much, groovy girls, and I will see you in the next video.